Welcome back to
Internet girls.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Happy holidays. We're recording this the week after Thanksgiving. I know it might be a couple weeks before it goes live, but we just had just a shit show of a holiday. So we were like, what better topic than to go over what a bananas Thanksgiving we both had?
Oh my gosh. For real. And I'm currently, is this my first scandal?
I think this is your first internet scandal. Like, you've made it. You're famous.
I'm going through my first scandal. I'm getting like slightly canceled. Not really canceled, but a little bit.
It's so stupid. I need to look you up on Reddit now. I wonder if the Reddit girlies are talking about you.
I made it right. That's how we know if I made it or not.
Literally. Yeah, I'm like very pressed about this. So why don't you tell the listeners why you're being canceled?
Oh my gosh, girls.
Gather round.
So we went to Thanksgiving, and listen, Matt is a travel nurse. Obviously, we don't live near family, so we have to get really creative with the holidays unless we just want to like spend them twiddling our thumbs, staring at each other with no one that we really know or are that comfortable with. So we try to make them special and do like fun special things. So we decided this time we wanted to go to Nantucket. We did this actually last year when Matt's mom was in town, but this time we went out to Nantucket and we ate at this buffet because we heard like really great things about this one we were supposed to go to. It was closed, so everyone was like, well, this other hotel does the exact same thing. And this one, it was ended up being about $400 for the two of us.
That's insane for a buffet.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Like, unless you have like prime rib and Alaskan king crab legs and lobster.
Well, that's what we were expecting. That was like the expectation. So we were okay with paying that because we're like, it's going to be great, you know?
Yeah.
So, because that's what the original buffet, because we had seen the original buffet with our own two eyes last year. So we were like, oh, okay, we're going to do that next year. And it was exactly like what you're talking about. So we went to this one since that one wasn't going on. And we're like, okay, this one was a little more expensive than the original one we were supposed to go to. So we're like, oh, it must be amazing. Wrong. But guys, before I even was going to like go there, Matt and I were like, oh, you should make a TikTok about the buffet that we're going to on Thanksgiving. I bet it'll make a really good video. Matt says this to me, which he's like involved.
We love a content king.
Yeah, but he even knew it would make a good video. So I had always planned on making a video about like the buffet we were going to do on Thanksgiving because I think it's interesting, you know? So that's like not outside the realm of my typical content, right? You know, like I make content about that kind of thing regularly. Food and stuff. So I go to this buffet and it's unfortunately the worst buffet I've ever been to in my entire life. Like Golden Corral is better. Like much better. Matt kept being like, Golden Corral would never do this to me. Like,
oh my god.
Like the dark meat was so dark that it looked like brisket. Like Matt was like, I thought this was brisket, but it was dark meat. And there was no gravy, which I think that there maybe was gravy there, but I think it just wasn't up there when we went there. Like maybe they were out or something, or it was like being replenished or something, but it wasn't there when we were getting our food, which was unfortunate for us because a Thanksgiving without gravy, that's very sad. Also, and for a second we were like, maybe it's just a Southern thing that they don't have gravy.
No. Gravy at Thanksgiving is a must.
Yeah. But so I made a video, needless to say, which, like I said, I was always planning on doing. Unfortunately, for the hotel that we were eating at, it was a bad video for them. Like, not
okay, wait. But the worst part that I thought, and I'm not a seafood eater, but I watched your video on TikTok and they had all these oysters out just sitting there. Like they weren't on ice. They
So,
didn't look fresh. It looked like something you would get sick from.
so there were remnants of ice under the oysters. Like you could tell they used to be on a bed of ice. And granted, this buffet started at 12 and it was going on like all night. And I think we got there at like 6:30, but there
That's
was no
disgusting.
more ice on under
So
the
they were like,
oysters.
let's not get more ice. Let's just like hope no one gets sick from these raw oysters. Like, what are you thinking?
And the oysters were huge. And I said that in my video, and a lot of people were like, so what? The oysters are huge. But the thing is, where I'm from, it's typical for the oysters to be big. Like, I don't know if you know that, but like certain
Mm-hmm.
parts they're typically bigger. Certain parts of the country, they're typically smaller, which they're big and small everywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
up here, they're typically smaller. There are bigger ones too as well, and also the better oysters across the board everywhere are typically smaller oysters, but these were huge. And I was like, well, we paid all this money, I want to try some oysters. So I picked out the ones that looked the best and that were the smallest, and I was like, I'm gonna just try it. So I tried it anyways. The oyster was warm. I had to spit it
Ew.
out.
Ew, ew,
I've
ew,
never
ew, ew,
spit out an
ew.
oyster before, and I've eaten so many oysters in my life.
Oh, that is my worst nightmare. Oh,
Yeah, it was
how
really
could they
bad.
serve that in good conscience and just be like, good luck, don't get food poisoning, happy Thanksgiving?
No, for that much money too.
That's actually insane.
Yeah, it is crazy. So then I make the video, and I feel bad because like all the wait staff at the hotel were so nice. They were the nicest people. They got us in at the last minute. Like it was a holiday. It sucks to work on a holiday. At the end of the day, this is such a first world like privilege problem. The fact that Matt and I had that much money to blow on a Thanksgiving dinner is like such a privilege within itself, and that is not lost on me.
Mm-hmm.
But that was still a lot of money to us. We're not like billionaires,
Exactly.
and it didn't feel good to waste that amount of money on something that was disgusting,
Exactly. Like you guys save, you don't have family nearby. So you're like, let's do something special. Let's spend a little bit of money to like go out and have a good time, just the two of us. Matt usually works holidays. And then you go and have like a disgusting meal. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's a first world problem, but also like that sucks. Like that
Yeah.
sucks no matter who you are.
And like this is the one holiday that Matt and I get to spend together. He's working every single holiday. He worked my birthday. Not that I think Thanksgiving is like the best holiday or whatever. Like I know it's problematic in itself, but like this is the one holiday that Matt and I have out of all the holidays to spend together. The only
Yeah.
one.
And it's like a
So
big family holiday. So it must be difficult to not be near family and to be like, all right, let's try to make the most of it. Like it's just us, like just our small little family. And yeah, I just think that sucks.
yeah, well, on top of that, well, actually, okay, before that, the hotel did see my video. They emailed me immediately. I'd posted it, and it went viral. And the hotel immediately messaged me. They emailed me, actually, the next day. I should read it. It's very short. Which I thought that was really nice. Like, they just reached out and were, like, very apologetic. They didn't like try to make excuses or anything for themselves. They
Because they
refunded us
knew.
our yeah.
They knew.
There was video evidence. They refunded us our money, and they invited us to come out for a special experience to like make up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
But I'll read you like the first paragraph of what they said. They said, "Someone forwarded me the video you took of our Thanksgiving buffet this morning. I wanted to reach out and apologize that you had a less than stellar experience. That is never how we want our guests to feel when they come and dine with us. Our team takes great pride in crafting memorable dining experiences, especially during the holidays. While we're far from perfect, the culinary team does what they can to make sure we're providing quality food. I'm sorry that we fell short this time around for you and your husband." Isn't that sweet?
You're like, yeah, it was memorable. I will never forget spitting out a warm oyster. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah. But I just thought it was nice of them to reach out like that, So I said thank you so much. I'll let you know when we come back to the island, and for what it's worth, the service there was great. You know.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a petty queen. I would have been like, you should be sorry. Like that. This was, you ruined my Thanksgiving already. So thanks a lot. Okay. But wait, let's talk about the video that this content creator made because I thought this was just crazy. It was like a 10-minute rant video about how offended he was by Tori's video without naming her and how like people should stop coming to Nantucket unless you were like born and raised there and have been there for like generations. And it was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Then this guy makes this video about me, and he's like, I came across this video of this girl who was just complaining so much about her spending $400 on her Thanksgiving meal, how it wasn't up to her standards, and saying how I was complaining about the service, which I never did. I never said one thing about the service at all, not once. And then he was like stop coming to coming to Cape Cod, and he kept saying that because he lives on Cape Cod. He doesn't even live on Nantucket, which people like to say if you're from here that Cape Cod and Nantucket are the same thing. They're not. You have to literally take a boat to get to Nantucket. And I'm like, you're talking about Cape Cod. We weren't even on Cape Cod. But I used to live there because when we first moved out here, we lived on Cape. And I actually feel like a special kin to the Cape because that's like where I healed, you know, like when I got really sick, like that's where we moved to. And I was like at my lowest point in my entire life all the way around when we got there. And I feel like I rose from the ashes there and like just completely healed myself on Cape. And so I
Yeah.
feel very like kin to Cape. So I want to just be like, shut up, you know, like also it's like, don't come to Cape Cod. That's so crazy. What a crazy thing to say to a travel nurse who is like coming there to like help you guys in a shortage crisis, you know, who like you need nurses for your hospitals. Like that's what a crazy thing to say. And how dare you, honestly, you know?
And how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? And then it was on about like how no one can buy houses there, which listen, I understand. I get that. Like that is true, but that's not just on Cape Cod. That's literally everywhere. It is
Yeah, that
hard.
is an American crisis.
That's an American crisis that is not unique to the Cape. That is literally everywhere. It's about $1 million or everywhere to buy a home. Unless you're like in middle of nowhere, Texas or something, you know? But
Yeah, and he was like, you shouldn't come to the Cape unless you've been like born and raised here. Like, I don't even want to see you here if you like bought your grandma's house or something. Like, that's crazy. And then he was like, it's just like going to Hawaii. Like, Hawaiians do not want you to go to Hawaii. And I was like, that is so far from the truth. Like, it's a tourist economy, you know? It's like all these freaking little towns in Italy are like, please, tourists, come here. Like, they need tourists to survive. And a lot of the people there who can't afford these homes, what are they doing? They're working these service positions. These service positions would not exist without the tourists or like the people who are trying to live there. And I was just like, do you not understand how the economy works? Like, this is so basic.
crazy. And then he was saying like the privilege was oozing out of me, and I'm like, I get that you're trying to make an example out of me, but you got the wrong girl. This girl is not like someone who owns this house and goes to Nantucket all of the time and vacations out there for a week and has all this dollar bill. Like you're trying to make an example out of the wrong person, and you're so wrong. Like you're
Yeah.
so wrong. And he picked the wrong girl. Because I'm not taking it lying down. And here's the thing, I don't care about internet hate. Like this will not keep me up at night or like bother me or like get me in my feelings. But I will tell you how I feel. And I'm not scared. And I also have no shame. So I'm like, yeah, me and my husband are estranged from our families. And so we don't have families. So we need to make it special, go out there and like do something fun for ourselves. And you know what? He had the audacity to say that this did bother me. He was like, oh, he was not responding to me directly. He would only respond to other people in the comments. And he was saying, oh, sounds like she's fully melting down in the comments and talking about stuff that needs to be worked in. Sounds like she's talking about stuff that should be worked out internally and
You're
melting
like,
down.
bitch, ChatGPT is my therapist. Like, I've got it covered.
Also, it's hilarious to me because I'm like, that's such a like misogynistic thing to say to a woman. Like, oh, like you're not gonna respond to me directly, but you're gonna be like, oh, she's just melting down. Like, like, oh, such a woman to be like emotional like that. That pissed me off more than
Yeah,
anything.
after you've made a 10-minute rant video about how privileged someone is on the internet that you've never met is like, that's, and you just go off on tangents talking about stuff that you clearly don't understand. Like, crazy
Yeah.
behavior. But Tori in the comments was so funny, y'all, because Tori sent me this video and I was like going through the comments and it was like everyone who commented, there was Tori, like she was like, I'm here, bitches. Like, this video is about me. I know. She was like, I'm not taking this line down. Like, gobble, gobble, bitch.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Oh, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's actually really good. You should go read all my comments because I was clapping back. I was being queen of the clapbacks and I was loving it and it was so fun. Honestly, it's kind of fun to be an internet beef. Like, put me in more so I can just clap back. I was having fun. Because I need someone to, like, clap back to. I have, like, a lot of other things going on in my life, so this was, like, a fun distraction to just clap back.
I know. You're like, I can get mad at you.
Yeah, I can get my jabs in.
You're on with ChatGPT, like telling them the whole situation. Can you believe this?
Yeah, no. Like this one guy in the comments was like calling Matt a scab, which is like someone who.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I was like, no, a scab is when someone literally goes and works. Like if there's a Matt just got. Sorry, guys. Matt just got home because we are about to leave to go to Florida tomorrow. And y'all want to know fun fact is I have too many clothes. You guys know this. So we're putting a lot of them that I don't want to get rid of in suitcases that we're checking and dropping off at his mom's.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, so he just like went to TJ Maxx to go grab some. Anyway. But they called Matt, and this guy called Matt a scab because it's someone who like goes and works on like if there's a strike going on. But Matt has never done that before. He's only worked if there's a shortage in a hospital. It's not because like all the nurses decide to go on strike so they could get paid more. He's never done that, even though he was like, "What's the rate at one of those places?" He was joking though. He's never done that. So like, I don't know, just people like that. And I get it. People are really charged up about the economy and it's the time of year where like people are really feeling the pinch. And I'm sure like it's triggering to see someone spend $400 at Thanksgiving. Like I'm not tone deaf. Like I get it. I get why it would be I don't know. Like I get why it would rub someone the wrong way, but I also think like you don't know what someone else is going through or why someone else is. I'm not just like spending $400 on this random Thanksgiving for no reason. I don't have a place to go. Okay. Like,
I know, that's so crazy. I also saw this. Someone was like talking about how this year Black Friday was like the most. There was like the most spend for Black Friday that there's like ever been. And they were like, so a month ago you guys were complaining about like the cost of eggs, but now you'll pay when it's like 10% off and no free shipping and like you're going to go shopping for that. Like, okay. I don't know. I'm not judging you, but I just feel like sometimes the same people who are complaining about these things are then turning around and they're like, well, I need to buy this and I need to buy this. And it's like, watch your privilege. Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I was having fun clapping back at everyone.
She was, you guys. Thriving.
But also, like, fuck you guys.
I'm going to go look up Tori Sunshine Snark on Reddit after this.
You should. Hey, you know what? I did, and I just posted a response video. So TBD.
Ooh! Oh, I'm excited.
And basically, it was just like a get ready with me, and I was just like calmly explaining how I felt. And I'm actually more fired up, like talking to you about it than I
Yeah.
ever was in the getting ready with me, because I was like right now we're like bouncing it off of each other, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And there I was like just doing my makeup. Like,
Yeah, no, I was super fired up about this when Tori texted me earlier today, and she was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, I'm not mad or anything." And I was like, "I'm mad. I'll be mad for you, Queen." I would probably have gotten canceled too if I posted about the cruise we just went on.
you should post about it. Be canceled with me. It's fine. We can clown down together.
Cause again, I was thinking about this and I was like, I want to recognize my privilege that like I did get to go on a cruise for Thanksgiving. I went with my whole family, like, and you know, it was really nice to be with the family. But also this was the worst cruise I've ever been on in my life. Just worst anything. Even my mom was like, "Do you need me to come back on the podcast to do a follow-up?" Cause like
She's
it
like,
was
I
so
need to
bad.
say
Yeah, they're all very excited about this podcast episode because it was just so bad. So let me start from the beginning, okay? And there's drama. So we got on the boat last Wednesday and I didn't have high expectations. I fear my parents did. I fear my mom had high expectations because she was so excited and she was like, look at this, all the things that the cruise does. And I was like, okay, like this might, you know, be the depths of hell for me, like being with my entire family and then also all of these randos on a cruise boat. But I digress. Here I am and pregnant.
Well, it was the
So
princess, right?
it was a princess cruise
Well,
and
princesses are supposed to be nicer.
they're not supposed to be like Carnival or something. Like they're supposed to be a step up.
Yeah.
So we all like, you know, I mean, I had low expectations. Everyone else had kind of high expectations, but all of us kind of met in the middle. And we're like, no, this was actually really shitty. So we got on Wednesday. What was great about it was that it left out of San Francisco and it just like went down to Mexico and then it came back up to San Francisco. So it was super easy. Like I literally could take an Uber. I didn't have to fly across the country or even like go down to San Diego or whatever to get on this boat. But yeah, from the second we got on, we went to the buffet. We all met there and all of us were like, huh, this is bad. Like, this is really, really bad. I mean, I love a buffet. Like, you know, when we went on Virgin together, I was like, look, I love Virgin, but I think there should be one buffet because I like love a buffet. This was gross. And like just the people on board immediately, I was like, oh, like we're pushing, we're shoving, we're like, no one was being polite. You know, it was just like immediately like that. So we're leaving the buffet and I was like, okay, like that was bad, whatever. Let me go like help my grandma get to her room. And I'm like, I'm just going to fill up like a little glass of lemonade because like the only free drinks were lemonade, iced tea, or water, and everything else you had to pay for. So like, love that. So I'm filling up the lemonade. It's almost done. So I'm like pouring the pitcher and then the top falls off and the lemonade goes all over my Taylor Swift sweatshirt. And I look over and there's a crew member coming right towards me. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like they're going to like, he just saw that. Like that was the top falling off the lemonade, you know? This man proceeds to walk right past me while I'm standing there drenched in lemonade, like looked right at me and then just like kept on moving. Like, I do not have time for you. And I was like, are you serious? Like, you can't help get me a napkin? Like, like nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And it all went downhill from there. I mean, that was like the first of just the whole theme of the boat was like, oh, you need help? Well, we're not going to help you. Like, we will not be there to help you. And yeah, just like everything. So the first night at dinner, we get there. It was one of those like where it's like two groups of seating, which I cannot stand because cruises often do not have this worked out. How they can have one large group of people come at like 5 and then the second large group come at like 7 or whatever. And so we get there for the later seating. We're sitting there for maybe 45 minutes before we even get menus. And we're like tucked in this corner. It's like this weird table where like we're in like this alcove. So I'm sitting there and voices are just like reverberating at me. And I was like, I'm getting a headache. Like, this is not fun. There's no water on the table. Like, nobody's coming. And finally they come and give us menus like 30 or 40 minutes, 5 minutes later. It takes another like 45 minutes to order. And the table next, like all the tables next to us are like enjoying dinner. And we're like, I'm starving. Like, please. They literally were giving my mom a roll of bread and they just dropped it on her and it rolled to the floor. And then they just like put another one and they were like, well, that's floor bread now. And then the food came in. I know. I was like, I'll eat the floor bread. Like, I'm starving. It's like 8:30 at this point when our food like finally comes and everyone's like, oh, like this is really pretty bad. And it's like the nice dining room where you're supposed to go like have a nice meal. And it was like pretty disgusting. I got fried chicken the first night, which I thought would be good. This fried chicken comes, it is soaked in gravy. So like it's all soggy. And then I'm trying to cut into it and I absolutely cannot. And it turns out like a ton of it is like bone and cartilage, which you just can't tell from fried chicken. So anyway, we're all just kind of staring at each other like, oh, I guess we're going to the buffet after this, which is also disgusting. So that's fun. Like it took forever. And so finally my mom like tracks down one of the managers and she's just like, oh my God, like we're just trying to like have a meal, you know, like we're not trying to sit here for like hours. It's been like 2 hours or 3 hours at this point. Like it was crazy. And he was like,
What?
oh, well, you know, the table next to you, they all just ordered every single thing on the menu. So that's why there's like such a backup with your food. And I'm like, okay, it is a cruise. They should be able to order everything on the menu and still not have us waiting for like 2 hours.
Yeah, like this is a cruise. Like there's like a gazillion people on the boat. Like that should not matter.
Exactly. I'm like, figure your shit out. Like, and I didn't blame them. I was like, fucking get it. Like, you guys should be able to order every single thing on the menu. But they were just like, we're not equipped to deal with that. And I'm like, y'all, this is a cruise. Like, come, let's be for real. So anyway, the waiter and like the manager and everyone was involved at this point, and they were like, sorry, we'll make it a better experience tomorrow. And I'm like, well, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So like, here's hoping.
I have a question. So for the seatings, was it like you have to go at 6 or you have to go at like you had an assigned time, or was it like you could either come at this time or that time?
So for this one specific restaurant, it was like you can either do the 5 p.m. seating or you can do the 7 p.m.
But did you have
So
to
like,
reserve it in advance or you could
yeah.
just walk in? Okay.
Yeah. No, they
So
knew
they
exactly
should-
how many people were
That
coming.
makes no sense. Literally,
know.
they have zero excuse.
And so we like didn't know about, I mean, there were tons of restaurants on board, but only I think 2 or 3 of them were free. And the rest of the restaurants were like kind of expensive. Like they ranged from like $45 per person to $90 per person to like go. And I'm like, okay, well, we're already paying for this cruise, of which no drinks are free. Like the Wi-Fi is not free. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you something else. So as soon as we got on board, it was like one big sales pitch. And John and I like went to,
Was it giving like what are those things called where they try to get you to like buy those homes in other places that you never
oh yeah,
timeshare.
It was giving timeshare presentation, but all over the boat. And like they would just walk up to you and like corner you and like make you listen, because basically they had this package like included Wi-Fi, it included like basically unlimited drinks. Like it was a good package, but it was going to be like $300 per person for like the smaller package on a 5-day cruise. And I was like, I think I'm good. Like we're already paying for this cruise. Like I don't need out. I'm not drinking. I'll pay $3.50 for a soda if I want it, basically. And so went to the buffet. It was disgusting. So afterwards, John and I were like, let's go try one of these other places. Spoiler alert, it was also disgusting. While we're sitting there, like eating our disgusting cold food, this woman comes up and she's like, oh my gosh, did you guys get the package? And we were like, nope. And she was like, you need the package. And I was like, no. And she was like, but what if you want to have a drink? And I was like, I don't drink. And she was like, but what if you just like want to have a margarita? And I was like, I'm an alcoholic. Also, I'm pregnant. And I was just like, and then she like starts talking to one of her colleagues while she's like right next to our table while we're eating like our sad little cold chili dog. And then she turns back and she's like, then she starts listing everything out. She's like, okay, but hear me out. Say you want a soda, that's $3.50. And then later you want a margarita and that's $12. And then you also want to try one of the specialty desserts, that's $17. And then also there's Wi-Fi and blah, blah, blah. And she like starts adding it all up. And we're just sitting there like, lady, we're not buying your freaking package. Like, what?
Oh
Are you kidding me? And the whole cruise was like that. And every time we saw her, John was like, that's the package lady. Like, I do not like her. Like, she will corner us. And I was like, she actually will. And the poor thing's probably getting beaten behind closed doors. Like, you didn't meet your quota. Like, like, let this woman live, but also let us live. Like, we're not here to be sold to the entire time.
So annoying. Like, especially on a cruise, like, you just want to relax. Like, I've never been on a cruise and been hassled like that.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you know, our family, we've been on tons of cruises. And this behavior, I was like, oh my God. And we saw it in the itinerary when we were looking. It was like, come to the jewelry store and like learn about diamonds, we're like sales pitch. Go to the casino and like learn this sales pitch. Like everything on the itinerary was a sales pitch. I was like, okay, so I don't want to go to any of this because all you're doing is trying to sell us stuff. Like that doesn't sound very fun. And literally like I tried to go to things. I really did. Like, you know, on Virgin, the shows are so fun and they have all these like, I don't know, fun little activities and games and trivia and all this. Like, I've honestly never been that disappointed. Everything was bad on this cruise.
Really?
It was so bad.
What were the shows like?
So all of the shows every night were singing. Like, that was just the whole show. So I only went to one and I was like laughing to myself the whole time. I was like, this is so princess. Because basically the show, it was called Magic to Do. And it was basically a show where they would sing various songs while performing magic tricks. And they ended up singing like a shit ton of Wicked. And which like love it, but also but it didn't make any sense. So like I went in thinking, all right, this is a 45-minute show. There's magic. There's got to be a plot, right? So they like start at the beginning. They're like, we got magic to do. And I'm like, cool. And then like the first scene is like this couple has a baby. And then it goes to like these old grandmas singing a song about being grandmas. And then it goes to the baby grows up really, really fast. And then the baby who has grown up meets this girl, but then it transitions and then there's a whole song about Houdini. And how does this fit in? And it doesn't. And then there's just all these random songs. And then at the end, like the baby who grew up really fast, like marries someone and has his own baby, but it just keeps jumping around. And I was so, like what?
Nothing was cohesive. There was no cohesive like story.
They missed the plot. Like, where was the plot? And apparently no one else was upset about this. Like my dad was like near tears. He was like, that was beautiful. And I was like, they did a great job, but they sadly were not given a great show to perform.
You're like, actors were great, singing was great, but what was the story?
Where was the story? And like the random magic that they did, it just like made no sense. I was like, these are just theater kids who also want to be magicians who just like, I swear they went behind the scenes and they were like, all right, who wants to sing what song? And they were like, Define Gravity.
All the good songs in the hat and they're like, close your eyes and just pull.
Literally. I was like, this makes no sense. Like, I didn't get it. And everyone else was like, well, that's a you problem, Hannah. And I was like, I think that's a them problem. I think there should have been a plot. And that is coming from a theater kid. Okay, yeah. So everything like that. Like we went to trivia a couple times. And it was just like, you know, the people who do all these like trivia stuff on cruises, they'll be like making jokes and stuff. And they'll be like, ha ha ha. Like these guys were idiots. Like there was this one question that was like, what do you call like the stage of life that you're saving in your 401k for? Like that was the question. And all of us were like, retirement. And so he's like, does anyone know the answer? And he's like this random little guy from Serbia. And everyone's like, retirement. And he's like, nope. We're all like, there's literally no other answer. Like we're all in on this. Like it's retirement. And he like goes behind his computer and he starts Googling. And he's like, I got to Google this real quick. And
What?
I was like, is this a bit? Or like, are we all being pranked here? Like,
Was it a language barrier thing? Like,
I think it was. I was like, have you ever heard of a 401k? Because like maybe that's just an American thing, but like if the answer is retirement, and then he pulls up the answer which he had there, and it was retirement.
oh my god.
And all of us were a bit like, wait, what's going on? Like, this is not funny.
That had to have been like a language barrier thing. Like,
He kept almost gaslighting you into being like, nope, that's not the right answer. And then it would be. And you're like, why are you trying to gaslight me?
maybe he was drunk. Like, maybe he had.
He could have been.
Too many of those, what do you call them, margaritas that girl was talking.
I know. She's get the drinks package. The Thanksgiving night comes around. And this gets dramatic because I walk into the restaurant. Sorry to call you out, Mom. I see my mom throwing hands in a fight with the manager. I was like, oh my God. And all
full on, let me speak to the manager.
Corrine turned into Karen. Which, like, I was kind of with her, though, because I was like, oh, great. They're putting us at the same table with the same wait staff. And, like, she was really upset about that.
It's necessary sometimes, you know?
Sometimes it's necessary. Like, we may take different approaches, but, like, we expect the same outcome, you know? So, like, all 8 of us are standing there, just, like watching this go down, just like with bated breath. And she's just like, you can see her like, she's so upset. Like she's talking with her hands, and the manager's just standing there kind of nodding, kind of smiling. And then finally he walks away, and she comes over to us and she's like, well, that was ridiculous. Like that was no help. So basically she went up to this manager. His name was Daru. I will never forget Daru. And she's like, okay, I went to talk to the manager because they're putting us at the same table. The table that gave me like such a bad headache the night before. And it's like in the corner, and it like is echoey and loud. And she was like, there were tons of tables open. And she was like, can you please just put us at a different table? And he was like, nope, have a nice meal. And he just said that to everything. She was like, we had such a bad experience last night. Like, we just want to have a better experience tonight. It's Thanksgiving. Like, can you just put us at a better table? And he'd be like, have a nice dinner. And like, that's all he would say. And she was getting so frustrated. She was like, just help us. Like, please. Like, we had such a bad experience yesterday. Like, just help us. And he'd be like, have a nice dinner. And then he just like walked away.
That is crazy.
Like the manager.
Was there like a manager above the manager?
I know, right? Okay, so it gets worse. So we have our dinner. The poor wait staff who's like trembling at this point, and I keep smiling at them. I'm like, it's not your fault. Like, it's okay. We understand. They were like, we're gonna make sure like you get your dinner first, and like all this stuff. And Thanksgiving, it ended up being pretty good actually. I was like, all right, this is not bad. But so the next morning, my mom was like, oh, let's go meet at this other restaurant for breakfast, and I'll go get us a table at like 8:30. And we get there, and she's just standing there, and she's like, they wouldn't seat me. And apparently Daru was there, and he like would not let her sit down. And like, what? He's seating everyone else. And he's like, sorry, your party's not here yet. I'm not seating you. And then someone would come and be like, oh, I'm going to be 4, but they're on the way. And he'd be like, come with me. Right in front of her.
So she made him mad that night, and he was holding a grudge.
A petty queen. A petty queen. But little did Daru know that I got a feedback form in my room that day. And we had his name. I love a feedback form, you guys. I'm filling out this form, and I'm like, Mom, what was his name? Like, he was an asshole to you. Like, he was so mean. And literally someone at the restaurant, by the way, had to come up and be like, why are you standing here? Like, do you need help? And she was like, he won't seat me. And they were like, oh, I'll seat you. Like, it was crazy.
That's crazy.
So I filled out my whole feedback form, and I literally said to John, I was like, I have this line written down, but I don't know if it's too dramatic. And he was like, oh, read it to me. And I said, this feels less like a vacation and more like a prison. And he was like, Hannah, don't write that.
That is so dramatic, but I love it.
I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm in a prison of my own making. Like, this This is terrible. And I did write at the end of the forum that like our room steward, whose name was Edward, I was like, he's been a shining star. Like, we love Edward. And when I gave Edward the feedback for him, I was like, oh, look, I said you're a shining star. And he goes, I am like your North Star. And then like he like started treating us like really, really nice. And like he brought us like wine glasses because we brought this bottle. I'm obviously not drinking wine, but we brought it for like a family dinner. And he was like, your North Star has brought you wine glasses. It's like, oh, Edward, did you read the rest of the form? So anyway, every day was like that. Like, the people on the ship were like, I was there with my like almost 90-year-old grandma, little Oma, and people would just push past her. Like, they would almost knock her to the ground. And I'd be there like clamoring onto her like, oh my God, what is your problem? Like, give us a second. She's just like an older woman. And they would just like rush into her. And we had a big issue with the elevators on the cruise boat. They were so hard to get. It would take like, you'd have to spend like 15 minutes standing there waiting for an elevator. An elevator would come, it would be full. And then you get in, it would stop at every single floor. Like, I don't know what was going on with these elevators, but they were really, really bad. And so one of the last days, I wasn't actually here for this, but the entire family told me about it. They were all waiting for an elevator, and one opened and it was completely empty. And they start like walking in, and this woman runs from the other side of the room. She trips over like a photographer's like briefcase. She's on the floor. She's scrambling up, and she darts into the elevator, like pushing past everyone. And I was like, if that is not the theme of this cruise.
You're like, that is our cruise personified right there.
Literally. And like all the family members told me about this separately. They were like, oh my God, do you know what happened earlier? And I was like, that is crazy. But I also relate, because I would probably do that at this point to get on an elevator and not go like 8 floors, you know?
Oh my gosh. So what do you think like the problem is? Like, what do you think like you think it's just everything is the problem?
Oh yeah. It was, I think it's a top-down issue. I think this is so horribly mismanaged. And like, I mean, I have endless stories like this, that like everything that could go wrong went wrong. Like, so we went to Mexico, and the next day they had all of us, like, we had to go through like immigration on the boat, which on other boats, you kind of just like go through immigration at the very end, and you have like different times that you go, you know. But for this boat, they had us all come down like before 11 a.m. and we had like different times to go through, and we had to go into this one room, and we had to like scan our passport and like scan our like whatever, and then we would be done. So we go down there. The line is completely wrapped around the ship.
Oh my gosh. Why is the process like that? I've never had like had to wait in a long line for something like that. Like, they either do it like the night before, so that way like whenever you get there you can just leave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to show your passport as you walk off, but it's not like you do like the stamp thing the night before, like, and they normally do it like in time slots. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
you know, or something like that. I'm just trying to remember, but not like that. That sounds like so chaotic.
It was so chaotic. And I was like, oh, so this is the least efficient way they could have thought to do it. And they were like, yep, we're going to do it that way. It'll be so fun. Like, people were literally like, staff was handing out water. The line was so long.
How long did you guys stand in the line?
So we got lucky because my mom and dad were coming to do it at the same time. My dad is handicapped, and I was literally like he can't stand in this line. Like, he can't stand for that long. Like, what are the handicapped people doing? And then this wonderful staff member named Coco, with K's, Koko, she was like, come with me. And she like took the 4 of us like past the entire line into like a special line. And so I don't even know how long that line took, because we got expedited, thank God. But I was like, this is crazy. And everyone was pissed, because it's like, it's one of your boat days. Basically, it's like you have 4 days on this boat. The 5th day is like, get the hell off. And one of them, you're going to spend hours in line.
Yeah, that sucks so bad. Well, at least when you guys got to Mexico, did you guys do like an excursion or something, or were you guys just like, let's do nothing affiliated with the prince?
Oh yeah. No, we didn't get off the boat.
Oh, you didn't?
No, because like the pools and the hot tubs and everything were so crowded that we were like, oh, let's stay on the boat while it's not that crowded and like go to the hot tubs. And that was probably the best day because like everyone left and the people on this boat were just like horrible. Like, oh my God. So, okay, the last story I'll tell before I get to the very ending, which is also very dramatic. My parents and my grandma decided to try one of the specialty restaurants, which was like the steakhouse. And of course, they'd been like selling this the whole time. Like, go to the specialty restaurants. They're so good. They're so much better. Get a nice steak, which, by the way, they still had price upgrades at these restaurants that you had to pay for. Like, if you wanted like a filet mignon, it was another like $20 on top of like the $45 per person. Insane. So the three of them go. I'm like, I'm not paying $45 to go to another shitty restaurant on this shitty boat. And they go to dinner. And I was talking to them after, and they were like, it was so bad. It was like inedible at this like specialty restaurant. So they like get there at their like assigned reservation time. They're standing there for 20 minutes to get to the front of the line to get in. And then the hostess takes like a personal call on her cell phone. So she's just like sitting there talking. And my little Oma, who is like almost 90, goes up and she's like, I think this is very rude. Like, we've been standing here a long time and like you're taking like a personal call. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh. Go. Oh my.
I know. And so, yeah, they go in. It's expensive, obviously. And my mom was like, my steak was so salty that I literally could not eat it.
No. Did she send it back?
I have no idea. I think it was like, sorry, there's no one here to help you. Like, that was just the theme. It was like, oh, you need help? Good luck. Can't help you.
Oh my gosh.
I
Well,
know.
what is your, like, so is your mom just gonna, are you guys just never gonna go on a princess cruise, or is there someone to complain to? Like, is there anything to be done about this, or no?
I mean, they sent me their like feedback form, which I will be filling out. And I might even include my prison line. But no, we will absolutely not be going on another princess cruise. And neither should any of you. This was horrible.
Hannah, you should make a video. And what you should do, though, is you should compare and contrast it with, like, a good cruise line. So that way it doesn't, come
Yeah. Cause I was like, wait, Virgin is like so far superior to this. I can't believe I even ever complained about Virgin because what a night and day difference. Like, send me on a Virgin cruise. I'll go. I miss it. So, okay, one kind of sad thing that I couldn't help but make like one little joke about, but we did find out. So we got to San Francisco, we all went our separate ways, and then my mom sent us a news story that someone jumped off the boat the last night.
Well, I wonder why.
I know! That's what I said! I was like, I'm sorry, but I was like this close to jumping off the boat too. Like, was it the elevators? I don't know. I think it could have been.
Oh my god. But were you guys, like, also able to, like, laugh about all of this together?
Yeah.
And, like, misery together? At least there's that, like,
I actually think it was good because I think that families, when they all come together around the holidays, like, you need a common enemy, you know?
So true. And at least it's not, like, one of the family members.
Exactly. Like, we all got along so well, and I'm like pretty sure it was because we all had the cruise to bitch about. So I'm actually grateful that it was such a shitty cruise because I'm like, we all got along so well. Like, there was no like big family drama. Like, and John's parents were there, and my parents were there, my grandma and my brother's girlfriend, and like all of us were together. And I'm like, you know what? Bless up. Like, thank you, Princess Cruises, because your cruise sucked, but we had a great time.
Yeah. You were enemy number. Maybe that's their, like, strategy.
This was all on purpose. They're just gaslighting all of us.
Yeah, they're like, you're gonna hate us, but you're gonna love each other.
Exactly. It was bananas. Like, it was so bad. My mom literally texted me on the last night. She's like, remind me never to do this again. I was like, you got it, queen. Oh, wait, I have to tell you one other savage thing my grandma said. She's so saucy. I was like, Oma, what was your favorite meal on the cruise? And she was like, I didn't have a favorite. They all sucked. I was like, preach, grandma, preach.
You're like, same.
Same.
That's so funny.
No, but they did have prime rib on the last night. That was great. Took full advantage.
See, there's a shining moment. There's a
The
shining
North Star.
Like, what was your like your peak moment where you were like, this is the worst?
Probably when I first got on. And like we had to go to like this muster drill that was a whole other story. And that's when I was like taking my little grandma on my arm and we're like walking and this guy just plows through us. Like she went flying. I was like, sir, like, can you have some decency? And then he got right in front of us, but behind my other family members. So we were like going in to like sit with everyone because it was in like the big theater. And then he had to like get up for us so we could go past him to sit with the rest of our family. And I gave him the dirtiest look. And every time I saw him on the cruise, I was like, you're a piece of shit. Like to just plow through a little old lady like that, like learn your manners, sir.
Yeah, old lady bumper into her.
Yeah. So yeah, from that point, I was like, oh, that's where we are. We are with some of the scum of the earth.
Well, at least it's over.
I know. I always think that after the holidays. I hope it's more fun when we have a baby because after the holidays, I'm like, well, at least it's over. We can start fresh now.
Yeah, I'm actually about to go to Florida tomorrow. Literally tomorrow. Is that not crazy?
No, that's crazy. I think you should miss your plane.
Honestly, I would love to.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to a wedding, which I want to go to that part, but then I'm going home and I don't really want to go. You know, I have to just go face some trauma that I've been avoiding, if we're being real.
Holiday trauma is unlike anything else. Like, and to wrap like a trip home into that, ChatGPT would tell you to stay away.
ChatGPT has told me, you don't have to. And I'm like, you're right. Because after I go home, I have to go to another trip to basically say goodbye to a family member. And that's something else. Maybe I'll get into that on the next episode because it'll be right before I leave for that portion. But for now, one thing at a time. And I'm going home, which I am looking forward to. We are going to the Pearl in 30A for 2 nights. So that will be nice. But other than that,
trauma.
And I am excited about the wedding. Like, I don't.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
One of my best friends is getting married, and I'm so excited to celebrate her. And and I'm very good at compartmentalizing thanks to childhood trauma. But so I know it's not like I'm not going to be able to show up for my friend, one of my best friends, But after, outside of that, I'm like.
I told Tori though, I was like, plan something fun for when you get home and then just like focus on that and like have like a big spa day or shopping trip or like a little trip with Matt or something. And then just like focus on that because in those dark times when you're dealing with childhood trauma, you really need something to look forward to and to like anchor you to your like life. And so I hope you have something like that.
Well, I need to think of something. The problem is, Matt and I have talked about this a lot, is we do a lot of fun stuff all the time. That sometimes, and this is like part of why we're like on the fence of like, or don't know how much longer we're going to do Travel Nurse Life, is because when you do a lot of fun stuff all the time, the fun stuff doesn't feel as fun. As much as I hate to admit it.
That guy would be like, you are oozing privilege.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I get what you're saying.
My eyeballs.
Your life is just too awesome that it's hard to appreciate all the time.
That is not what I mean. I just mean like experiences like that aren't as shiny as they used to
Mm-hmm.
be, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's more shiny, would be more shiny. Like if I was like gonna see you. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, come on over. We'll all have you anytime. My mom and I will fight about which of our houses you stay at. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed us just like bitching. It's a real look into what our conversations are like most of the time.
No, for real. Also, F that guy.
Yeah. F all the guys.
Yeah.
Daru, I already forgot his name. Doru
Durham.
and Durham and the fucking guy on TikTok and
Whatever his name is. Cape
F
Cod
them
guy.
all. Cape Cod guy, get a life. My God. Yeah, so happy holidays. I would say that maybe our next update will be happier, but like, who knows? Because Tori will just be coming back from Florida. We'll see.
Yeah.
Not gonna make any promises. But we do have a couple other holiday episodes in store, so stay tuned. Get excited. Happy holidays, you guys. Whether you're dealing with family trauma or you're actually enjoying yourself or gaslighting yourself into enjoying yourself, we're there for you. And you can tell us what you're going through because we get it.
We do. We get it. Maybe you're one of those like God's favorites and like you don't really have family trauma though. Please tell me what that's like. I actually know some people like that though, so that's great. I love that for you.
What a nice life. Can't imagine. Follow us at Internet Girls Pod on TikTok, Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can watch us live. Rate, subscribe. Let us know if you're liking these episodes. If you're not, don't bother reviewing. We're soft and sensitive, so we don't want to hear from you. But to those of you who love us, give us a holla. And yeah, I think with that, Internet Girls are out.